Good morning. We're going to be doing a little science lesson today. Yesterday, you watched a video going over the pages on food chains. Now, remember, the food chain is a series of organisms that eat each other, and there is a passing of energy from those organisms, generally originating with energy from the sun, passing down to a plant, and then animals that eat that plant. Sometimes there's a series of multiple animals eating each other before those are decomposed. So today we're going to be creating some notes about it. Please take out your science interactive notebook. Okay, so we are going to have our heading at the top of the page. November 10th, 2020. In general, it's good to have a heading at the top of every page, even if there's not a prompting from me, or sometimes I'll have videos of Mrs. Campbell walking through some notes with you. But this really is very helpful to keep track of exactly what it is that you're writing about. In this case, we're taking notes on food chains. Now, at this point, I am going to flip my page sideways because the food chain that we are going to create today would look much better to be longer. So we want to have plenty of space for this long chain. We are going to create 4 boxes. You can line up your lines very neatly with the blue lines of your page, or just make this rectangle. Divide it into 4 parts. Looks like a bar model, doesn't it? Sideways though. Okay, so 4 little boxes. And we've got some arrows that we're going to draw to show the transition of energy between these areas. So we've got the sun up here. I'll actually draw a sun now and label it. The sun is going to pass down its energy to this first box, which is a producer. A producer is a plant, right? This producer also takes in carbon dioxide. Let me make sure you're able to see this. Yeah, carbon dioxide is spelled this way. You might pause it for a moment to get that. Okay, so it takes in carbon dioxide. It also takes in water. You can draw some waves to show that. Now, this producer could be consumed or eaten by a consumer. Now, it's also possible that this consumer, and actually, let's stop for a moment and I'll actually draw the arrows. So the sun passes down energy. I'm going to write energy to the producer. The producer passes it on to the consumer that eats it. Then this consumer could be eaten by another consumer. That consumer could also be eaten by another consumer. And this dead consumer will decompose. So this is a brand new part of the food chain for the decomposer. Then this decomposer breaks down all of the elements for the producer to have rich soil, rich fertile soil, to be able to produce its food and continue that food chain. Now, there are lots of different examples of food chains in nature. This happens to be one with 3 different consumers. It could be that there's only one consumer, and then that consumer ends up dying and is decomposed. There could be 10, 20 consumers to make this food chain longer and longer. So we'll just create one example of a food chain to put into this, though. Let's see, a good one. I want it to be a little different than what we just did together in our video yesterday. This is a good one. Okay, so let's say that there is grass. You could draw a picture of some grass eaten by a grasshopper. Okay. You have a little grasshopper with its little legs. Try to make them springier if you can. There's a little grasshopper. And maybe it's eaten by a bird. Okay. I'm trying to kind of copy a picture here online. It's much better than a typical drawing if I'm able to copy a little bit, but still not nearly as good as almost all of you. Now, and actually that does not look good, but there's a little bird. I imagine it's a bluebird. Okay, maybe this bluebird is eaten by a snake. Oh. Okay, there's a snake. And this snake, it could be eaten by another consumer like an owl. An owl is a predator for a snake. Or let's just say we close this chain off here. The snake dies naturally. It's decomposed by mushrooms. That's an example of decomposers. After this dead snake is dead, it needs to be broken down into the soil to then make new fertile grass or other producers' plants. Okay, those are some mushrooms. So that's an example of a food chain for you to have in your notes. This is not the only type of food chain. There could be a shorter chain. It could be longer. As we're going to see later on this week, there couldn't be food webs because it's possible that multiple things are eating this grasshopper, for example. Okay? Multiple things are eating this grass. So what does that look like when there are multiple consumers of one producer? Lots of consumers for this consumer, for example. Or maybe our consumer that's more at the top, like being the predator of the other consumers. What if it's eating multiple consumers? What does that look like? So we'll stop here, but we are going to continue talking more about food and food webs in coming weeks. I hope you all are doing well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.